Now, if you are watching on YouTube, you may have noticed that I'm not alone right now. I've actually got a special guest with me, and this is Courtney, and she is a mindset and emotional intelligence coach and owner of the Grow and Clo. Oh, I've mixed up my
Don't
words
say
then.
that. I still do it. Don't worry. It's
Grow
my
and
business.
Glow. There we go. A collective that offers one-to-one coaching, memberships, and retreats. Courtney grew up experiencing childhood trauma that developed into an anxiety disorder in her early 20s. After hitting rock bottom, she chose different for herself and became absolutely obsessed with neuroscience and emotional regulation. Since transforming her own life, she has built a successful business that helps women from around the world and spent the last year traveling whilst changing lives. So, without further ado, welcome, Courtney. Hello, how are you?
Hello. Oh my goodness. I am so excited for this conversation. I think we booked it in before, was it before Christmas? We booked it in.
Yeah, it was like early
Yeah.
December, I think we ended
Yeah.
up
So we are
doing it.
here. Yay.
Yeah, finally. Yay. So, yeah, obviously, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So, like your intro said, I have been an emotional intelligence and mindset coach for the past God, we're 2025 now. Past 3 years. I'm in my fourth year, but the first year was like I didn't really have my business head on. It was more like
Mm.
getting into the field. So in my mind, I'm in my third year, but technically it's the fourth. And I mostly work with women who are either approaching 30 or who have just joined the best club there is, which is the 30s club. So around
Yes,
that around that area. How old are you, by the way? If
I
you don't.
turned 30 last year.
Oh, amazing. Same, same. I
Yeah.
loved it. I loved it. I was like,
Yeah,
roll on the next
oh my God,
chapter.
100%. Like I was dreading it to begin with. And then afterwards
Was
I was like, actually, I'm so excited. Like this could be my best decade, like
yeah.
ever.
100%.
And it's just that whole feeling that you have. And I think it's like a pivotal moment, isn't it, when you turn 30, that it's just like
Yeah.
your 20s are your trial and error years. And then your
Yes.
30s is like,
I'm like,
this
right,
is
I've got
it.
my shit together now.
Yes, literally. Love it.
Yeah, so I help women around that kind of age bracket just really learn to manage their emotions, learn to love themselves and all of the things just so they can stop allowing their emotions to kind of dictate the happiness in the present. So and I'm obsessed with it. I absolutely love it. Wasn't always like I wasn't always that. I've been on a journey, but it's brought me here and like the last year's just been insane with it. So currently we've just been talking about the sunny UK. It's bloody freezing, but I actually live in Australia, so I'm home for the year. Um, and I'm enjoying it. I am enjoying it, but my base is Australia
Love.
and it's a lot warmer than it is here.
Definitely for sure, especially as it's their summer right now as well, isn't it?
Literally, I stay off Instagram. I don't scroll anyway that much, but when I'm like catching up on friends, I'm just like beach, beach. Gonna look at it's actually sunny here today, which is a change. So I don't
Yes.
mind it when it's sunny.
Yeah, I feel the same. I think if it's sunny, okay, if it's cold and sunny, I'm all right with it. If
Same.
it's cold and raining, I'm like,
It's
I am
just
not here for this.
like
Love it. But yeah, no, this is amazing. And I feel like I can feel your passion as well in like your voice. Like you feel like you are absolutely obsessed with it. And that's what I absolutely love about you. So take us right back to your childhood. What was your life like for you?
so growing up. I obviously grew up in the UK and that like generation above me, you'll know it's very like brush things under the carpet vibes. Like
Yep.
you don't really learn how to manage your emotions and all of that. So it was a lot of the things that went on weren't processed, weren't really acknowledged. And don't get me wrong, like my childhood was so fun. Like I feel like we were the last generation before we got like the best of both worlds, like in terms of technology and all of that. Like
Yes.
we was the last generation before screens got introduced to life.
Yes.
Like you would still kind of knock on for your friends and be like, right, I'll meet you here at this time. And
Yeah.
playing on the street, playing Kirby hide and seek, all of that. So like,
Actually go
and
outside.
yeah, yeah. I mean, your mum was like in summer, you're either in or you're out because
Yeah.
you just be like in and out all the time. So I feel like we were really lucky in that sense because we got like the last that last like vibes, and it's really nice to know that. And I never went without, and you know, we was I was happy. I was a happy child, like and confident. But obviously what goes on in your house, what goes on behind closed doors, it's like a different story, isn't it, sometimes? And I think for so long in my mind it was, oh well, this is normal. Every house goes through things like this. Every house has got shit going on.
Mm.
But I grew up around domestic violence, addiction, alcoholism, all of the things. And then if we fast forward, so when you're from 0 to 7, that's when all your beliefs, all your programming, all the things that you believe about the world, about yourself is starting to happen. You're like, let's put it this way, you're like a fucking sponge. You're
Yep.
like a sponge, and it's when if you think of your mind as like a program, like a computer program, or like a computer in general, from 0 to 7, your brain is installing the programs into its computer. So you're making meaning of the whole world. Now, if you're experiencing childhood trauma where your basic kind of human needs to feel loved, to feel safe, to feel heard, to feel seen, if they're not being necessarily met, you're gonna build this narrative and this perception and this feeling of the world later on in life. So I went through a lot of that. There's a lot of memories if we're talking about like what it can actually look like and how alert I was as a child. It was like lay in bed listening to the sound of the door go and what kind of footsteps was walking through the door because I knew that drunk footsteps meant violence. So it was like that kind of, like staying in bed and really being hyper alert and that and tense and anxious and heightened because my body was in threat. My mind saw that as danger, right? Fast forward to early teens, I had a pretty negative view of myself and the world, but I didn't know it at the time. My teens were wild. I had so much fun. Again, I'm not saying that I was sat there miserable all the time,
Mm.
but very, very disruptive patterns. So I could not control my anger. I acted in ways that I'm not necessarily proud of. I don't hold shame to it anymore because I've moved past that and I love that part of myself and have listened to that part of myself. But I was a very, very reactive, angry person in that kind of time of life. Very, very promiscuous, sleeping around from a very, very early age, just because I thought that was the only way to feel or get male attention.
Mm.
Um, anxiety was like a running theme. And then in my early 20s, I moved to Australia. Now, best decision I ever made, scariest decision I ever made. And it was that like little twinge of like, oh, I can do big things and like be okay, like get outside my comfort zone. However, looking back, I definitely moved to Australia. It was like always from my childhood, it was like always this sense of running away,
I'm
you know.
getting that feeling.
Yeah, rather than facing it, it was a
Yep.
lot of like running away. And just before Australia, I'd been in a 7-year relationship that was very, very toxic. Not him, me as well. I was also hold my
Mm.
hands up. It's one of them like, am I the problem? Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely was. You know what I mean? And then yeah, so like my childhood, really everything that went on, it was a happy childhood. I had so much fun. I learned so much from my mum and dad in terms of like drive, working hard and like believing in myself, but also that side of things. The trauma really dictated the domino effect in terms of how I was showing up in my teens and early 20s. And then I was like, I need to avoid all of this pain and all of this. This is not what consciously went through my mind, but
Mm.
I ran to Australia kind of the furthest place you can possibly run to because I was starting to feel overwhelmed with the shit. But I didn't know that at the time. It was just when I look back, I can tell through behaviors and stuff that I just wanted to run. So my childhood was happy, but outwardly happy. On the inside, very, very up and down, chaotic, treading on eggshells vibes and unsafe, let's say.
it sounds very much like that. And it's almost like your subconscious mind was like running the show without you realizing that it
100%.
it was, because you've just literally, like you said, you were running from everything. And then you've just gone, nope, I'm gonna go to the other side of the world and just
Yeah.
completely avoid everything rather than actually like facing it. But at the time, you're so young anyway, you don't really I guess you don't really actually think about these things, do you? Like
No,
at
I
that
just thought that
time.
was the way I was. Like that, I didn't know how the mind worked. I didn't
Mm,
know about emotional regulation. Like that word wasn't even in my vocabulary. I
mm,
didn't know. Obviously, emotions was, but the knowledge and the skills and the language didn't. I was completely oblivious to it, but
mm.
also completely oblivious to how the way I was behaving, the way I was thinking, and the way I was feeling wasn't just who I was. It was um a combination of everything that I've been through, you
Yeah.
know? I didn't know, you don't know what you know until you know it.
Exactly, like literally. Literally
Literally.
100%. And the thing is as well, you could look at it from like an outward lens and you'd be like, oh my God, why did I do that or anything like that? But you don't know at the time when you're
No.
doing something like that. And obviously, as you get older, you become so much more aware of who you are, what you're
Mm.
doing. And the thing is as well, like, yeah, okay, you've done all those things when you were a child and your teenagers, but that shaped who you are now.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And that's like one of my huge like narratives at the moment. And one of my new programs at the moment is Pain to Power.
Mm.
And it actually come to me on my 30th birthday because I was like doing, you do a lot of reflection when you turn 30, don't you?
Yes.
And I was like, right, okay. And I was just going through like each kind of 10 years, every 10 years, like going through my story. And then I was just like, oh my goodness, like I've transmuted so much pain into my biggest power.
Mm.
And I was like, I need, like, that's my next, what I need to teach women. Like, that's got to be the next, like, teaching that I do because it's incredible when you do start to notice, when you do start to notice the connections and connects the dots and realize that it's not who you are, that
Mm.
your behaviors don't determine who you are or define who you are, and that you can move past them and kind of take power and take control. It's the best thing you'll ever do,
Oh yeah.
ever.
Oh yeah, 100%. And you take the lessons from it as well and you learn
Yeah.
from it and then you're like, right, okay, I know what to do next time. If anything ever spirals out of control, you're just like, I know I've got
I don't
control.
think because I'm in a place now, it would
Yeah.
never spark like the journey that I've been on in the past 10 years, and that's what I love to teach women. Like you can get to a place where you wholeheartedly know that the worst thing in the world could happen and you'll never hit rock bottom again, ever.
Oh yeah, 100%. And that's obviously like where your emotional regulation comes in, but we'll talk about
Yeah.
that later. Um, so yeah, so obviously, how did you deal with navigating like an anxiety disorder, and obviously how did that affect your confidence?
Yeah, so when I moved to Australia, so what it was is throughout my teens, especially late teens, I'd always felt the feelings of anxiety, but I
Mm,
feel like that language and that vocabulary didn't enter my life until late 20s. Like
mm,
the word anxiety and understanding what it was, not understanding it on a deep level, just knowing that this feeling that I've had
yeah. And
throughout my
like
whole life is called anxiety.
it's almost like brushing it under the carpet as well, isn't
Yeah,
it?
exactly. So I was like, okay, I'm experiencing anxiety, but I wasn't doing anything about it. I was just like,
Mm,
I'm an anxious person. I have anxiety. Full stop. That's just the way life is for me. And that was the case from like late teens to early 20s when I kind of hit rock bottom. So I remember having anxiety, like I remember being laying in the bath when I was as young as 7, 8, and being overcome by the same feelings that I'd have if I was in bed listening to the footsteps. Do you know what I mean? Like that when anxiety takes over your whole body and you literally freeze.
mm,
Yeah. And your stomach drops in your chest. And so I've had anxiety or I've experienced anxiety from a very young age, but didn't do anything because I didn't know about it.
yep.
Fast forward to late teens, I'm experiencing it more and more, starting to have panic attacks because I was drinking a lot and taking drugs. So that's not going to help.
Mm.
Um, so more anxiety. Then I moved to Australia, doing the same disruptive behaviors, and Australia it's times 10. So more drinking, more drugs. Like, do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, it's because it's like you're on holiday, especially in the first 2 years I was there. I've been there eight
Yeah.
years now. Life is not like that anymore. But when you're traveling and
Mm.
you're forced into it, it's like 10 times all of your disruptive behaviors. So not for everyone, just if you're running away from home, trust me, your trauma will get on that plane with you and follow you to Australia. So just 10 times out there. And then I did hit rock bottom. I developed an anxiety disorder. Now, the difference between experiencing anxiety and having an anxiety disorder is when the anxiety you experience starts to control your life. So
Right.
I couldn't really go out. I was cancelling lots and lots of plans with friends, cancelling social engagements, couldn't concentrate in work, couldn't go a day in work actually without having an anxiety attack. Couldn't look in the mirror because anytime I looked in the mirror to get ready, I'd have an anxiety attack. On surface level, when I was going through the anxiety disorder, I thought the anxiety was about the fact that I was ugly and I was disgusting. So it was very much appearance based.
Hmm.
And I that's what I thought at the time because it was the most obvious thing to me. I looked in the mirror and hated what I saw, therefore I was experiencing this anxiety disorder. That was not the case. It's never anything to do with your appearance.
Yep.
It's to do with all of the emotion that I hadn't processed for the last 24 years. But it was coming out in this way, okay? So that's what it kind of looks like for me day to day. But there was also a lot of shame tied to it. So not only was I trying to like brush it under the carpet myself
Mm.
and not even brush it under the carpet at that point because I was literally it was de debilitating. Is that the right word? Debilitating me on a day to day.
Mm.
Like it wasn't allowing me to function like I wanted to. But on top of that, I was trying to hide it.
Mm.
So I remember locking myself in the bathroom mid anxiety attack away from Aaron, my partner, because I didn't want him to know that things had gotten that bad. So it was that extra element of like shame was intensifying it because as long as you resist any emotion that you feel, the louder and the more control it will have over your life. So obviously I didn't know that then though. So I'm in the bathroom crying my eyes out. This went on for let's say 5 months where it was like really rock bottom-ish. And then one day I was in the gym and something triggered my anxiety. It was like a post on Instagram about this is so random. You know Charlotte Crosby,
Yeah.
Geordie Shore.
Yeah.
Channel 5 did a program about celebrities and their appearance called What Have You Done to Your Face? And
Okay.
Charlotte Crosby was on it and it really affected her mentally. And she posted about it and how it had affected her. And I was in the gym and I read this post and I just like, because I've been going through what I've been going through with
Mm.
my appearance and everything, I just had it wasn't even an anxiety attack this time. It was like, it was anger, but it was healthy anger-ish. I felt this anger. I would only just got to the gym. It was all very dramatic. I'm a very dramatic person. Threw my weights down. I was like, ah. Ran home crying in tears. And I remember being sat on the balcony in tears with my partner, just like hyperventilating.
Yeah, yeah.
And I told him everything. And he knew that I wasn't doing well, but he didn't know to the extent that I was feeling the way I was feeling. And then I said to him in that moment, I was like, something's got to change. Like this isn't okay. There's got to be more to life than the way I'm feeling. And then from that moment on, everything changed. Not straight away, but that
Mm.
was like the catalyst. That was the line in the sand. That was, I am done feeling this way. And then since then, it's just been an absolute obsession with the way the body works, the way the mind works, neuroscience. I've always been into the way the mind works, kind of, because I did study psychology for a while.
Mm.
But because of how I felt and I dropped out of uni and did events management instead. Very opposite ends of the scale. Um, but yeah, from then on, it was just about learning everything there is to know about anxiety, not just anxiety, but about the body. And I went on this huge journey. And then within in a year, in the space of a year, my life completely changed. I completely changed. And then it was like, I cannot go another night. I can't have another night's sleep knowing that there's women in this world feeling like I once did
Mhm.
without knowing the solution. Because the solution is so simple. It's not easy, but the solution, the skills that you build, it's not, it's very straightforward once you understand it. And then it's
Yeah.
just about practice and refinement. But yeah, and then that's when everything changed for me, really. That line in the gym that day and on that balcony, that's the line in the sand moment. But the anxiety disorder really was, I would never take a second of any of it back. Because without that, I wouldn't be sat here talking to you. I wouldn't have traveled the world. I wouldn't have done all these things if it wasn't for me hitting that low level, you know?
Yeah, I 100% understand that. And I think that's the most powerful thing in itself is that you've taken something that, yes, you was rock bottom, but you've completely flipped it on its head and just gone, no, like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to let it control me anymore. I'm going to do something about this. And
Mm,
because some people don't get to that point where they flip it on its head or anything like that. People still
no.
stay in that state, but you've gone, no, I'm going to change it. And I always believe that everyone has control of their own their own life, and you can change situations. And that's what I love about that whole thing. I mean, the whole anxiety and things. So I don't obviously have anxiety disorder, but I developed anxiety during COVID, which I'm sure a lot of people
Yeah.
probably developed anxiety during COVID. I know a lot more people obviously have got mental health problems since that time of our lives because it was an abnormal time of our
Yeah.
lives. It wasn't something that is the everyday. And I experienced my first panic attack. It was in a shopping centre actually. It was I think it was when things started opening back up again. So it was about 2021. I
Yeah.
went to shopping centre and I had my mask on and I just all of a sudden froze and I just started having this panic attack. And when you got a mask on as well and you can't breathe,
Does not help.
really doesn't help. So
Did you manage to like get to the bottom and see and like uncover what it was like creating those feelings for you?
I know exactly what it was that created that anxiety. Straight away, I knew exactly what it was that created that, um, which was which was good. It's good that I had that self-awareness
Yeah.
of what exactly what it was that caused it. But yeah, but ever since then, little things I'm good now, but little things can sometimes slightly like make me feel a little bit anxious. But I've also annoyingly developed hormonal depression. So
Right.
that's something else as well that is
Hmm.
rather interesting in the fact that like you say, your body and like
Do you
how
cycle
it
sync?
sorry,
Do you cycle sync? So do you like track your cycle and
I don't have periods.
right, okay.
Yeah. So it's it originally started because of my thyroid.
Hmm.
So that's how I got hormonal depression. So
And
yeah.
where are you at with that? Are you sorry, I'm interviewing you now, but where are you? I just find it interesting. It's conversation and like are you on a journey with that right now? Like
Yeah, so my thyroid originally started off as an overactive thyroid. So I got to the point where I couldn't do anything without feeling like I was going to have a heart attack, or basically, I ended up in hospital with a heart rate of 138 and I thought I was going to die that day. I couldn't breathe. I it was awful. And I don't want to experience that again. But I generally felt like I was going to die that day. And my thyroid then flipped and it became like an underactive thyroid. So I'm stuck with it now for the rest of my life. It will never ever go away. And during that period of time, I developed obviously depression and I was crying like 3 times a day. I was crying for no reason. It got to like Christmas Day and I remember sitting on my bed and I was just crying my eyes out. And my mum came in and she was like, "What's wrong with you?" And I said,
I
"Nothing."
don't know.
Said
Yeah.
I literally cannot tell you the reason why I'm crying. And I'm like, and I've just had um issues as well, obviously, in terms of like um my womb and stuff like that. And then that's also created
A lot
other
of
hormonal
yeah.
depression. And it's yeah, so I don't feel like it's my mental state. I
Mm,
generally feel like it's hormonal and it
yeah.
yeah, which probably so many women go through at
100%.
some
Like
period of time.
I wouldn't say like I'm the expert or knowledgeable, but I will share with you one of my good friends who is like a hormonal coach.
Mm,
She's so knowledgeable, so I'll tell you that later. And you can
amazing. Yeah. No, because I feel like so many women like experience something like that, whether it's like PMDD or
Yeah, I've got a few clients who experience that, yeah.
yeah, like it could be anything, or obviously like, thyroid, anything like that, that so many women have, but you almost feel like it just gets brushed under the carpet. Like it's almost like it doesn't exist and you've just got to deal with it and move on. And
Mm.
that's the thing, it's finding the things as well that works for you and what makes you feel better. And I feel like for me at the moment, it's like actually just getting out of bed, having a shower, going for a
Yeah.
walk, like those little things are just actually making me feel so much better about myself.
Then you feel more in control, don't you? It's like,
Yeah.
okay, what can't I control? What can I control? And in this, what can I control space? What feels good to me? It's the same with anything. I think there's not a one, what's the saying? There's not a one shoe fits all. Is that the
Mm.
saying? One size fits
One
all.
size fits all,
You
I
can stop
think.
one shoe.
Just make up any saying.
But yeah, and it's about what works for you. But I mean, you're killing it though. So considering that you've been through, like you've experienced, you've been through all that, especially if that day in hospital and you genuinely thought like this was it, that's gonna have such an effect on you. Do you know
Mm.
what I mean? Like to go from there. But I see you, you're killing it. So
It's
you're an inspo.
cute. It's madness though, isn't it? How your body like obviously reacts to certain things and like obviously where you were
Experiences.
saying like yeah, like with your anxiety disorder, like that's your body telling you like, okay,
We
we
need
need to
to
do
we need to we
something.
need to face the shit
Yeah.
because if when you think of what emotions are and what like happens is you feel an emotion and it's energy in motion in your body. So
Mm.
it has to go somewhere. So from my teens, it was going to blowing the fuck up with anger, being quite aggressive and violent myself towards people that I loved in certain instances. So that was like a release, but it's not a healthy release.
Yeah.
So all the emotion that I experienced when I was a child, it didn't go anywhere. And then right up and the way I see it is when I was 24, the anxiety that I was experiencing was just a build up of so much unprocessed, unreleased
Mm.
poo. It was all just like coming out in this really awful way. But then when you just stop and stop running in that moment at the gym and when I decided to draw the line under the sand, it was like that the best way to put it is like that was the moment I decided to stop running. Like stop
Yeah.
running to Australia, stop running into situationships and relationships that just weren't good for me. I was always like trying to find this thing that was gonna make me feel safe and whole again when really I just needed to stop running and go, okay,
Mm.
let me look at the last 24 years of crap and move through it. And I did.
Yeah,
Half
100%.
my
And
life.
that's so powerful because I think a lot of people actually find it so uncomfortable to just sit there and actually just sit with themselves, sit with their thoughts. Right, because like you always try to do something to block out that noise. And then when
Mm.
you actually just sit there with yourself, you process everything, that's when it's like powerful and that feels like that's what you've done. Like obviously since you had your line in the sand moment, have
Mm.
you experienced like a flare up when it comes to anxiety or anything like nothing at all?
So, like, well, line in the sand moment. Let's like the first year, line in the sand moment was the moment where I was like, something needs to change. That first, actually, let's say 6 months. 6 months, yes, I'd had other anxiety attacks. I had some really like um some stuff go on within my relationship that not an anxiety attack, but caused anxiety to affect me in a way that is debilitating. Um, so that was the first 6 months, but as because I was still learning, I was still
Mm.
learning how to regulate, I was still learning about nervous system regulation and like doing the practices myself. But as soon 6 months, I'd say after that point, especially a year on, I I can't remember the last time I had an anxiety attack. It was definitely not long after I decided and was putting in the work to heal, to learn, and to practice and refine my skills, my emotional regulation and nervous system regulation skills. I did I went through, I 100% went through a quantum leap because I did a lot of healing in a short space of time and realized a lot of things in a short space of time to the
Mm.
point where I woke up one day and the world felt different. I remember looking outside my window of my apartment and I just in tears, but happy. I
Mm.
was like, this is so weird. I feel like I've literally woke up for the first time ever and I can see everything clearly. I can see myself clearly. And since then, I have not had one anxiety attack. I experience anxiety because this is the one thing that I want people to take away from this episode. It's that for so long I believed I was an anxious person. And if you attach to that identity of an anxious person,
Mm.
you have no room for change. You have no room to believe you're anything else because that is who you are. That's what you attach to. So when I realized this, I was like, right, okay, if I'm not an anxious person, who am I? And that opened up so many like amazing doors and realizations. But also, if I'm not an anxious person, then what is anxiety to me? Anxiety is just a natural human response that is trying to keep me safe, and that's okay. So now, on the very, very rare occasion that I feel anxiety, because I don't really get it, the only time I get anxiety, well, there's not even like a key trigger. It's just if it pops up to say hiya once in a while, very rarely. It's like, okay, cool. What do I need? What does my body need? I don't fear it. As long as you resist anxiety, it's going to control your life. So
Yeah.
if I feel, and it doesn't cover my whole body, it's just a little niggly feeling in my chest. I'm like, okay, what does my body need? Or what is it trying to tell me? And then I go with that and I know what to do. And that's it. Like it doesn't. I know I will never have another anxiety attack or panic attack again.
That's a
That's
bold
that's like
statement.
it's a very bold statement to
Yeah,
me, but I know that I won't because it's just not it won't happen for me. It won't.
that's insane. Absolutely insane. But I love that so much that we love a bold statement as well. So
Yeah.
amazing. So obviously you've done a lot of research on neuroscience and emotional regulation. Can
Mhm.
you tell us what actually that means? And obviously you said about like helping you. So how has it helped you?
Okay, so we'll start with emotional regulation, and I could go on about it all day, but I'll pull it down. Emotional regulation is the skill to become aware because you cannot change what you're not aware of. You can work with what you're not aware of. So to be aware of your emotions, to acknowledge your emotions, to accept your emotions, and to be able to let them go, which is the huge one that people really get to like build the skills with, but it's what people find the most challenging. So when you come to letting go, it's about finding healthy ways to allow your emotions to move through your body, be released, and then take action. Because what a lot of people do is they live in this reactive state. Some people for their whole lives where something will happen externally to them, whether it's someone says something, an event happens, and they just act out of emotion instantly. They don't have, or they don't feel that they have the space to pause, feel, and then choose. That's the most powerful skill. It underpins everything. Your money mindset, your career, your relationships, how you feel about yourself. If you learn this skill, it will elevate every area of life. Easy. And that's how I know that I'll never have another panic attack or anxiety attack because I've mastered them skills. It's impossible. Yes, shit might happen.
Mm.
That is the worst in the world. Like I've not really experienced loss. This is a really I was the reason I'm saying this because it's a topic that's been fresh recently. And obviously you have these thoughts of like, oh, like how will I respond? If I've got these skills, how will I respond when something really not nice happens? Like someone close to me passes away, and I'm like, I'll be fine. And I know that sounds so mad, especially considering how reactive I was in the past, but I just know now that no matter what happens, this skill is with me for a lifetime, and I'm able to feel it all. And sometimes it feels that life is just fucking crumbling around, but I can hold that. I've got the skill to hold the worst feeling in the world. But also the reason why this skill is so important is because when imagine you've desired something for so long,
Mm.
the life that you want, whatever it might look like, whether it be getting your absolute dream job, you're rich as fuck, and you've got the man of your dreams, right? Like all the things are like 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
If you've been striving for that for so long and you get it all, especially if it all comes quite fast, if you don't have this skill, especially if you've been through trauma and you've been through times of struggle, if you don't have the skill of emotional regulation, your body's not even going to be able to hold the emotion of everything that's good because
Mm.
that's very intense. So your body's going to be like, "Oh, this isn't normal. We don't normally get what we want. Oh my God, I'm so like," and if you can't hold and feel that emotion and be aware of what's going on in your body, the likelihood is you'll self-sabotage. The likelihood is that you won't be able to handle the responsibility maybe of your big goals and big dreams or whatever it might be. So it's both ends of the scale, and that's why I said it underpins fucking everything. So in short, it's your ability to, let's take anger. It's your ability to feel angry about something because someone has crossed a boundary, because someone has wronged you in some way. Understand what our anger is. Okay, I'm feeling angry because I feel like I've been wronged in some way. And that's okay. It doesn't mean that I necessarily have, because everyone's got a different map of the world. It's just that I feel I have. Can you see like the narrative that's going on? And then, okay, I feel this anger. I'm going to pause. I'm going to give myself space to feel this anger. I might go and fucking scream into a pillow. I might journal it out. I might run. I might box. And then, and the more you do this, the quicker it will become. So
Mm.
like, so for instance, I'm at a place now where if something's pissed me off, I'll just go, and that's all it takes.
Mm.
Whereas before, I would have to go and take a week, take a day, and then your week turns into 5 days, your 5 days turns into a week until you master the skill. And then it's like, right, okay, I felt it. How do I want to respond?
Mm.
Rather than, oh, you're a fucking dickhead and you've done it, and you say things you don't mean to the people that you love,
Yeah.
you're able to pause, feel, and then go, okay, this situation's made me feel X, Y, Z. What can we do? What can we do? How can we work together to come up to a solution? What do you need from me? This is what I need from you, X, Y, Z.
Mm.
Right? That's it. Now apply that to all emotions and imagine you understand all emotions. Like for me now, I'm so grateful for even the less desirable emotions. So anger and sadness, X, Y, Z, because everything is a little bit of a message. So if
Mm.
you're angry, it's because you want to set a boundary and you want to communicate. Anger is the reason why I had my line in the sand moment because it drove me towards change. So I'm so grateful for anger because I felt angry in that moment and I used it in a really positive way. So
Mm.
that's how it gets to be. Okay, I'm feeling lonely. Loneliness is the emotion that you feel when you perceive isolation. Because you can be in a room full of people and still feel lonely, right? And it's because
Yeah.
you're not feeling connected, you're feeling isolated. Okay. So I know that because I feel lonely, it doesn't mean that I'm alone. It just means that I feel isolated. Who do I really enjoy connecting with? I'm going to pick up the phone. Or do I need to create more connection? Do you know what I
Mm.
mean? It's that response to your emotions. That's emotional regulation. And of course, it's helped me personally because it's a lot. It's got me out of the shit, so it's got me from feeling in fear to feeling safe. But then if we look at beyond that, as soon as I started to feel safe, I've used that skill to elevate my life in every area. Because then you can go big. If you've got this skill and you're at the level where you feel safe and you've got all those safety kind of feelings, then you can just be like, all right, what can I make happen in life? How can I like take the scary action? How can I go on the dates? How can I travel the world? How can I build the business? Because you're able to hold the emotion of all of that.
Mm.
Neuroscience is basically it's how the brain works. So like in terms of how it's helped me, it's the knowledge that this blew my mind when when I learned this, that your brain is made up of pathways, electrical currents. So every thought you have, every belief you have, is like a little, the best way to put it is like a network of like electrical currents. And every time you have a thought, an electrical current is shot through the brain. Now, as soon as you start to question your thoughts that aren't serving you, and you decide, no, actually, I'm gonna reframe that right now. Let me think of an example. Um, So in the moment, it might be like, oh, I've got to go out with my friend because if I don't, she'll hate me and she won't like me anymore. So you're displaying people pleasing attributes.
Yep.
But then in that moment, you start to figure out why you're displaying them. You start to do a bit of work in the healing area, and then in that moment, you go, actually, I'm just gonna say no, and I'm not gonna explain myself. I'm just gonna go, no, I don't feel like doing that today. In that moment the pathway that has been so strong for so long in terms of people pleasing and your thoughts related to people pleasing, I want you to imagine it like it starts to crack a little bit. It starts to weaken, and then a new pathway goes boop and is formed. And the more you do that, the more you reframe, the more you shift your thoughts, new pathways are formed and your old pathways actually dissolve. And it's called neuroplasticity. It's where it's how your brain is able to change. Years and years and years ago, scientists thought that your brain gets to a certain age and then that's it. There's nothing you can do.
Right.
It doesn't change anymore. But then I say recently, it's not in the past like generation.
Yeah, yeah.
We found this out. Like your pathways can dissolve and delete and kind of let's say grow old and disintegrate and new strong pathways can be formed, and that's why when you're first starting to change the way you think and change your mindset, change your habits, change your behaviors, it's very very difficult and takes a lot of conscious energy
Mm.
because your new pathways aren't strong enough. They're not operating automatically. They're growing, and your old pathways are still quite strong, but the more conscious energy you put into it and the more you do it, you'll wake up one day and it'll be so automatic the way you're thinking. You won't even have to it same with emotional regulation and things like that. It's like your brain's pathways strengthen the more you do things. The easiest way to think about this is when you learn to walk, when you're a baby, you've got very, very limited pathways because you don't know shit. You
Yeah.
can't even walk, right? But when you start to walk, a new pathway is created. And when you start to crawl, that pathway strengthens. I'm sorry, when you start to crawl, pathway is created.
Mm.
When you start to walk, it's strengthened. To be fair, when you see your parents walking as when you're a baby, a pathway is formed because they're like, oh, I'm learning here how to do that. So it's not just thoughts, it's everything, it's how you operate. But knowing that you can actually change your brain is game changing because then it's like, okay, if I'm thinking this way and it doesn't serve me, that's not the way it has to be. I'm in control of that. On a like actual, it's not woo woo, it's like scientific, what's the word? Physiological. I'm really bad with words. But like it's not woo woo, it's like actual you're
Yeah,
changing
yeah.
your brain. So that's what I kind of dive into when it comes to neuroscience, and then just understanding that your mind's like a computer. Your mind is will, like I said, when I was a kid, when I was a child, between 0 and 7, your mind is creating this whole story. But it's not, that's all it is. It's a story. You're not born with beliefs, and you're not born with these ideas. You're shaped, you're conditioned, you're programmed, and it's not easy, but it's quite simple. It's you get to a certain point, you're like, I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to act like that. I don't want to think like that. What's my current programming, and how can I rewire? How can I reprogram it?
Yeah.
And that's where the brain comes in. So I feel like I've talked for ages there. Sorry.
No, I find that so fascinating because like I've obviously done things like that where I've done like healing and stuff, but I don't know like obviously the
What's going on?
science, yeah,
Mm.
like the scientific side of it, or I don't know like the names of it and stuff. Like I had this conversation actually, I did a recording yesterday, and like I had this conversation about how I don't have any memories from earlier than 7. My earliest memory is 7, but the limiting beliefs I have have stayed. Yeah,
Yeah.
that they're the things that I can remember, which is madness in itself. And I think even for myself, like where I've had so many limiting beliefs that have come up, like self-worth and all those sort of things and things that have happened in my life where I've, you feel like a pile of shit, like, and you think, actually, am I worthy of
Mm,
these things? And it's now got to the point that my bounce back rate is so quick.
yes, love that.
Whereas like I used to take, so for example, even in business, I would have something that would come up. So for example, like fear of success, or
Yeah.
I'd have like even like the self-worth is, am I worthy of being paid for,
Yeah.
my expertise, something like that. And I would take like weeks off
Oh,
business,
really?
or I'd be like, I take like a few days because I'm just
Because it
like,
would really like get, yeah.
yeah. And you would almost like freeze in a sense, and you're just
Mm,
like, I don't know how to deal with this. And then now, because I've learned how
yeah.
to deal with it, it's like I could have these thoughts, and then I'm like, right, this is the reason why I'm thinking this.
Yes, love that for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
And
like,
it sounds like
actually,
there as well, you're like previously when you was taking the time off and you felt like you was in freeze, it was probably because of the emotion you was attaching to the thoughts as well. So like
mm,
you part of you felt that those thoughts were still true, let's say. So then the emotion was being evoked, and that's what probably because what happens is we have a thought, it creates an emotion, and
mm,
then the behavior comes
mm,
afterwards. So you was obviously feeling the thought, the emotion was attached to it, and then the behavior is you had to take time off or you froze, yeah.
yeah,
But now it sounds like you're able to have the thought, you're not emotionally attached to the thought because you're like, okay, well, I'm zooming out here, what's actually going on? But even if it does evoke emotion, which it probably still does, obviously we all have them days where we're like, oh my God, I
yeah.
want to burn everything to the ground, I'm shit. Like we all have them, well, like you said though, but now they're just like passing moments and you're able to feel the emotion that initially comes up and go, actually, no, maybe I just need to go out for a walk. Maybe I just need to be in nature for a bit. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you come back and you're like,
Yeah. I'm good. Yeah. Yeah. Or I literally have like a dance party or something. I end
yes,
up having, I think it was once I was listening to Zara Larsson on My Love. And obviously that's like an upbeat song.
yeah.
I just cried
Oh,
through
well,
it.
yeah, that's emotional regulation, isn't it? Crying is a tool.
Yeah. But I
So,
never like understood those
yeah,
things, like what it actually
what was
means.
happening? Yeah,
Yeah, because obviously like I do have passing moments where I still have those thoughts that come up.
yeah.
But it's the self-awareness that you have around it and actually knowing how to deal with it. Like I got engaged last year, and
Love
once
that.
once that whole like bubble, obviously with
Yeah.
that you're in and everyone's like congratulations and everything like that. Once that all died down, I then literally was like, I freaked out and I went, I need to break up with him.
Oh, but I feel like I'm always already journaling about like if it happens this year, I know that a part of me is gonna feel a bit unsafe. But that's all it is. It's just
Yeah.
and it's like a part of you felt, not you, you didn't want to break up with him, but a part of you was like,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
I literally like I freaked out. I journaled on it and I was like, why am I feeling these emotions? And it's purely for my body because it was going, I need to protect you. I don't want you to get hurt because of what I've had in like past
Yeah.
relationships. And I had a conversation with him and he was just like, I knew this would happen. Like he knew just purely because of how he
Oh.
knows me. And he was like, I knew you would feel like this anyway. I felt so much better afterwards. And then I was just like,
Yeah. Oh, I love that for you. So
great. But it's just one of those things. And I've had a situation, I had another situation last year actually about like people pleasing because I felt like I was a huge people pleaser. And someone was not happy with a situation that I made a decision. And I just went, I journaled on it and I was like, why am I feeling really pissed off about this? I journaled about it and I went, do you know what? I'm not going to bother with you.
oh, I'd
And
love
I
that.
literally
I'm
was
at that
just
stage now.
like,
I'm just like the scissors are out. So
yeah,
what?
yeah. I'm like, I need boundaries. Like, I'm the person that, I spend the most time with. I want to do things that I'm happy about. If you're not happy about that, I'm sorry, bye.
And exactly. And the thing is, what I've learned recently, because I've like really stepped that up a little bit without being, because I think what can happen as well, though, especially when you've been a people pleaser in the past and you're like, you get used to doing it and you're like, oh God, I'm a bad bitch now. You can almost go to the opposite end a little bit. And
Yeah.
someone can like make a mistake and you be like, right, bye, I don't deserve this. So I think for me, I've been through that side as well. But
Mm.
now I'm at this point where like I really trust myself. I've got evidence of, because as soon as you start saying goodbye to people that you know aren't aligned with you, you open up the doors to people like you, like, do you know what I mean? Connecting to
Yeah,
people,
yeah,
like welcoming really like soulful people into your life. But I'm at a point now where it's like quite steady. I've got like this thing called a 3A rule when it comes to people pleasing. You might like this one. So
yeah. Okay.
3A rule, right? So if it's a friend, especially, or a family member, or to be fair, even just if it's someone, whatever, and I want to set a boundary, I'll set the boundary, but I'll only communicate it 3 times.
Okay.
Right. So I'll set it if they're obviously responding to that and I can see that they're really making an effort and they care. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
Obviously, you've got to be a mirror as well. You've got to be doing this to other people and being respecting other people's boundaries.
Yep.
But if I can see that they're trying, everyone's human. They're not just going to switch their behavior straight away because that's
Hmm.
difficult to do. But if I can see that they're literally disrespecting the boundary over and over and over again, and I've communicated it nicely, calmly, and from a place of love 3 times. The third time, there's no way I'm wasting my breath and wasting my time.
Mm.
Keep on saying the same thing, and there's no way I'm allowing them to drain my energy in whatever way. So it's bye bye. I'm literally just even if it's not like fully cutting them out, they're like they don't get my energy anymore. Like
Yep.
that's the point where I'm at now. It might sound brutal, but you've got evidence of
Right.
people that respect you, so why are you gonna settle?
Yeah. And that's the thing, it's that evidence side of it as well. It's
Mm.
creating that evidence or looking for the evidence that tells your brain that it's like actually you can have this or
Yeah.
yeah. And that's yeah, I never do you know what? I feel like I've done all this, like been doing this stuff,
But
but
you've
I
never had the
never,
words to articulate it. Yeah.
yeah, I never actually
And now that
fully,
you do have the words, it'll blow up tenfold because you'll understand even on a deeper level what's going on for you. So as soon as, because this is, remember when I said I kind of knew what I was doing, but I didn't have the words
mm,
like before. As soon as like I got that note and I understood it, it just went like that. So
yeah,
now that you understand what's going on, watch your life fucking blow
yeah,
up.
100%. I think, yeah, because I think you just learn it, don't you? And then you're like,
Oh,
oh, okay, this is what I'm doing. This is how I need to like process things. But actually learning that this is emotional regulation, I'm like, oh, okay. It's like every day's a school day. Literally. Um, so yeah, so you've now built this successful business, obviously helping women around the world whilst traveling, which sounds like an absolute dream because I love traveling. And so yeah, so can you just tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, of course. So like I went through my journey and then like I said, it got to the point where I was like, I can't live another day knowing that there's like women out there not understanding,
Mm.
like not getting that they don't have to live this way. So then the Grow and Glow Co was born. And over the past, let's say three years, because the first year was kind of like I was still on my journey a bit and I just started an Instagram and I didn't even have like I wasn't like even probably shouldn't say this in a podcast, but I wasn't paying tax because it was like in my head it was more of a hobby.
Yeah.
Like I had clients and stuff
Yep.
and I was serving them and they were seeing like incredible change. But again, it was that evidence piece. I
Mm.
don't think when I started my business, I definitely didn't fully believe in myself and I didn't know where it was going to lead to. I didn't know it would be what it is now. I just was like, oh yeah, I'm going to do this thing. I want to help people.
Mm.
So the first year was kind of like building the evidence, I guess, if we stayed on that track. And then I started
Yeah.
to see the impact and I started to see the change, and I was like, oh, okay, I think I'm onto something here. And then yeah, since then I've just been like increasing the impact that I'm making, really finding myself within business and finding myself within this space, going deeper on my skills. And then
Mm.
last year, we we left Australia in the March, and from March to literally the beginning of December, we traveled the world. Like we went to South America, we went to we did Europe, and I was kind of that moment, like I'd had this visualization, right, of me being in the pool area of an infinity pool, surrounded by like nature with a green smooth air, and I'd just finished on a client and I was doing client notes. That vision was in my mind from like the end of 2022 all through to when we left at the beginning of 2024. So I was doing that visualization at least 3 times a week, whilst obviously taking the action required to build a business
Yeah.
and all of the above.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, because you don't get what you want
yeah,
unless you
you
put the
don't just
work
get what
in.
you want by imagining it.
Yeah.
I wish it was that
Yeah.
simple,
And
but
then
it's
it's just
not.
gonna come like
Yeah.
that.
So while still taking the action, very important. And then I remember being in Colombia and we was in this like we was in this pool area and I'd ordered a breakfast smoothie, not consciously, and I was
Mm.
sat there on my laptop and I just burst into tears. I was like, oh my God, this is the vision that I've been creating for so long.
Mm.
And I guess with business, like I feel like coaching comes naturally to me. The business side of things, social media kind of comes naturally for me a little bit. Like for me, it's never been an issue for me to post every day.
Mm.
That's always just been a probably because you can't shut me up. Probably because of that. But what I really was a challenge for me, and I think has only been that's why I say 3 years rather than four as well, because over the past, I'd say start of 2024, mid 2024, up until now, especially the last 6 months, I didn't really have a business head on. Like I didn't know about marketing, I didn't know about
Mm.
messaging and all of that stuff. Like, but it just goes to show again, when you're patient, when you trust yourself, and when you give that space to learn. Like I have had many of breakdowns over my business, not anxiety, not thingy, but just like maybe not anymore, not in the past year, I'd say, but
Mm.
2023 when we was preparing to leave to come, there was many moments where I've been on like sat on the bed with her and just like, I don't know if we're gonna make this happen, and like having those moments. But building a business is not it's not for everyone, is it? Let's be honest.
It's not for the faint-hearted.
Gotta be a savage, like literally. So yeah, it's been an incredible journey. Last year really was like pinch me vibes. Pinch me, but not because I did always know that I'd make it happen.
Mm.
And I basically had the year off. I was still coaching and I still had clients, but I didn't like have a strategy. I wasn't sitting down to work every day. And
Yeah.
I was still getting paid. And that I think that was again, that was the evidence. Like you don't need to be sat at your computer 24/7. I was fucking swanning about in Machu Picchu getting paid for
Yeah.
something that I love to do. And that was like a huge aha moment for me as well. So I think since I got back in December, um, everything's just well, November things have just blown up a little bit in all the best ways.
Mm.
But again, if I didn't have these regulation skills, I'd be like, what the hell? But yeah, the impact, like seeing a woman go from where I was, or not necessarily where I was, but she is successful. She is smashing it. She's smashing life, but she has these areas where she's super, super reactive and she feels scared to face a pain and she's living in fear in whatever way. To see
Mm.
her go in from that to embracing all parts of herself, to loving all parts of herself, to feeling confident because she's got these skills is something that I will never, never get bored of.
Mm.
Like the money, yes, obviously give me the fucking money. Love
Yeah.
money. Love it. I love it because it allows me to give more impact. But money comes second always in this job, like because that feeling of seeing the result and
Yeah.
seeing the movement is next level for me.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
love it.
priceless. That
Yeah,
feeling is
I'm
honestly
addicted
priceless.
to
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. It's so nice. It's like when you're a little kid on Christmas Day. It's
Yeah.
that type of feeling where you're just like, oh my goodness, like I'm
Yeah.
helping someone and I'm like changing someone's life. Like
Like it
I
can be
feel like that.
so simple. Like one of the girls inside the membership, um, we've got a dance party challenge this week, and these girls and some are business owners,
Yeah.
but some are very, very just starting their journey. And we do dance parties a little bit different than in 1% because it's more about like closing your eyes, tapping into your body, connecting to the body, and move. A lot of women don't feel comfortable moving their hips, and that's
Mm.
because they're not connected to their bodies, they're not connected to their feminine. Um, and today, actually, I got a message from one of the girls. She was just like, I really concentrated on like moving my hips this morning. And I was like, look at you. You look hot as fuck. You look like you're not even in your mind. You completely dropped out of your mind there and you're fully in your body. And like seeing that, like seeing a woman dance, I'm just like, fuck yes.
Yeah.
Go. You've got this.
Empowering, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like
I love it.
such a great feeling. I
Yeah.
I get that because like I work with like obviously business owners.
Yeah.
So, like I'm a personal stylist obviously for CEOs and it's like you could be wildly successful in your business, but if you're someone that's like you won't look in the mirror or you won't get naked in front of your partner or something like
Yeah.
that, it's like those little things where it comes like you're so self-conscious of the way you look.
You're hiding parts
And
of yourself, and that will spill into
yeah,
business if
it
you're,
leaks into
you
so
know.
many different parts. Like you could be on your stories or something and you've got a filter on because you don't like people looking
Yeah.
at like your skin or something like that. Like you could have a spot or something. Do you know,
Mm.
and you just don't feel that comfortable with people staring at you. Like there's so many, you can be so wildly successful in so many different parts of your life, but there are other things that could be hindering it and could be leaking into it that
Yeah.
it's like actually I need to work on
And the
that
thing
part of
is,
it.
if you are really successful, if you've got an insane like you, even if you don't own your own business, but like you've top of the top in terms of business, or you have a really amazing relationship, but you don't, like you say, you look in the mirror and you have these beliefs and these feelings about yourself. Imagine where you will be. Imagine how much life can elevate if you lean into the work that needs to be done.
Yeah.
Like it's insane. I love it. I love seeing the transformation.
It's crazy as
Never
well.
get
And I think as well, because you've done it yourself as well, and you know the feeling
yeah,
like yourself, and it's like you just want to inject that on so many people, and it's like, this feeling's incredible. Like, come on, people, like, feel it. It's amazing.
yeah,
Just do
yeah.
the work. But I think a lot of people just get so uncomfortable with it and they just don't. I think that's the thing. It's like people sort of shy away from doing the work because it is uncomfortable. You do get emotional, you do cry, but you've got to work through that and then think of the outcome that's going to come out on the other side. Like it's just amazing. Like
It
it's
is,
just
but
such a good
again,
feeling.
emotional regulation. Like if you build them skills first and forget about doing the scary for a bit and leaning into the uncomfortable, if you master that first, you'll be like, fucking bring on the uncomfortable because I want
Mm,
to challenge myself with this new skill that I've got. Because then you're
yeah,
able to hold the fear, you're able to hold the emotion that comes up with stepping outside your comfort zone. But there's no better feeling than stepping outside your comfort zone, being shit scared, and then coming to the other side and you're like, I did it.
yeah. Literally, like
I
I
love
try
it.
and challenge myself, I think probably like at least once a week where I'm like, I'm
Yeah,
gonna get out of my comfort zone and I'm gonna do something. And the things that I have achieved, especially last year, just from stepping outside my comfort zone, it's
yeah,
just incredible. And I think I had the most insane year last year. It started off obviously rocky
yeah,
with my thyroid diagnosis, but the rest of the year was just incredible purely because I was stepping outside of my comfort zone and the things I gained from it, the lessons I learned, it was just insane. And I've kind of got the same sort of journey as you in terms of business. Like I
yeah.
started mine in the end of 2021 and
Die, I think actually. Oh
I
yeah, 4 years, 4 year.
yeah, so mine was like I think it was October 21 and I started off I was doing personal styling. I originally started off doing like kind of influencing type
Mm.
um and like body confidence and then I stepped into like personal styling, but I was the same as you really. It was almost like a hobby and
You weren't taking it you was taking it seriously, but when you look back to how you are now, you're like,
yeah.
I wasn't really a business owner then.
Yeah. And I went into it as like expect the unexpected, which is actually my theme for this year. Because I was like, I want to go back to that feeling where it's like just expect the unexpected. And I went into it like in that way. And then as I was growing, so much just came up for me, and I was not mentally prepared for it. And my
Yeah.
mindset just was not there whatsoever. My confidence was like so low. And the fact, obviously, I started a business is just insane in that sense. I was like, my confidence is like crap, but I've still gone and done this. And like I was felt confident in myself and like the way I looked and everything like that, but the confidence wise in terms of running a business is
Yeah.
completely different. And
Yeah.
and that's the thing, confidence is so broad, like it can be so many different ways of feeling confident. And yeah, it got to the point where I ended up working. I think I've spent 2 years literally working on my mindset and working on my confidence to get me to the point that last year I had my line in the sand moment with my
Yeah.
diagnosis, because I was like, my life could end tomorrow. I need to be doing the things that actually I want to be doing in life. And I literally walked into 2024 as like, I'm going to grab my life
Yeah.
by the balls. And I literally
Oh,
just ran with it. And I had such an amazing year. And then I've gone, 2024 is my warm-up year.
yeah.
2025 is when I
Like,
literally skyrocket to the moon. Like I am going to thrive so much. And I've
oh
been
my
back in
God.
business like 2 days, 3 days, and I've already had like amazing podcast guests. Like I'm doing
That's
things
like me the
like,
last week's been. I feel like everyone in the membership where we met and stuff in the 1% house.
yeah,
I feel like everyone is feeling the same. Like there's something so special about this year. I literally said the same thing that you've just said. I feel like even the last like couple of years have been a bit of a warm up for me. And like that's so mad to say when I've just
yeah.
fucking traveled the world. Like I've just traveled the world and like last year was a warm up.
Yeah.
But I can't help it. Like there's something, and I'm the same as you. Like this week, I would have done 3 podcasts. I've like my membership is just like when your heart feels just like it could burst out of your chest. Like everything in business just feels so great, and I'm like, 2025 is the year. Not even
Yeah.
just for me, for everyone. I know it.
Yeah, literally. Like I think I can just feel it and like sense it. And it was like even when this year started, so I kept seeing like horoscopes. I'm not massively into like star signs or
Yeah.
anything like that, but I just kept seeing that was like, so I'm a Cancer. And it was like, Cancer, this is your most luckiest year. Like this is the
Oh.
best year you're gonna have. And I'm just like, is this a sign? Like, oh my God. I was like, this gonna be my year? Like, am I gonna thrive so much? But literally, yeah, I feel the same thing. Like, it's just been a warm up and like
Yeah.
almost like hobby head has been on. And then
Mm.
now it's like,
It's who you are on an identity level in it. I think the first year for me, 2023 was a game changer in terms of like me really stepping into the identity of a
mm,
mindset coach, of a business owner, of an entrepreneur. Because that's when I got my second coach, and she was a friend, but she was like next level.
mm,
And she just like was like, you are an authority in your business. And then that's all she used to say, because before that I never felt that way. And then I really worked on like stepping into that business mentality and business identity. And I
mm.
think that's what 2024 was, a little bit of a warm up for. And then like you say, 2025 is like, I've got my fucking business boots on me. I'm fully in those shoes now.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's the thing. Like, I think I was the opposite to you, where I had the strategy, but I didn't
Yeah.
have the mindset side of it. And I
Mm.
think that that's the reason why so many businesses like fail within the first year, because you go into it and you're like, yeah, I've got this amazing strategy, and it's like this is like fantastic. It's like going well, and then you smack a brick wall where you're
Yeah.
like, my mindset is so shit right now, and that's not what's going to propel me. And then you go, oh, I can't see the results. I'm going to quit. And that's
Yeah.
what ends up happening. And actually, really, business is what 20% strategy, 80% mindset. And you know,
100%.
I think if everyone had the most amazing strategy, everyone would be doing it.
Yeah, it'd be there.
But yeah, so obviously reflecting back on everything you've been through, and like obviously what got you through it, obviously that you spoke about like the neuroscience and emotional regulation, but is there anything else, obviously, that helped to boost your confidence?
Getting outside my comfort zone, honestly, I think
Mm.
everything that we've said has been it. Like the emotional regulation side, the learning how my mind works, and really questioning everything I thought I knew. Even now, if something isn't serving me, or if something isn't working, I don't just put a full stop and be like, okay, well, that's the way it is. I'm like, how? How can I make it work? What
Mm.
do I want it to mean? I'm you know when people say like delulu, like
Yeah.
be delusional, be delusional, create your, or if something makes you feel good or if something is going to propel you forward, ask yourself, what am I currently making it mean? What do I want it to mean?
Mm.
You know what I mean? And then that allows you to change your story. Like it's changing the stories constantly when things pop up. And I think another thing is that has really boosted my confidence and it just has really like shaped who I am as a person right now is knowing that shit's always going to pop up. Like you don't get to a point where it's like this big aha moment and
Mm.
everything is like fairies and rainbows and unicorns. Like, no, that's just not life.
Yeah.
It's not, but I welcome the shit now. I'm like, come on, hit this shit, bring it. Like, because I know when you come out the other side, it's that feeling that we was talking about, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, it's those things and just really learning to trust myself um with everything that pops up. But
Yeah. That's a huge thing, trusting yourself.
mm, yeah, and you do that by welcoming in the shit and
Yeah.
doing and just one step in front of the other, literally.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like at this present moment in time, I've told myself one day at a time.
Yeah.
And that's all I keep telling myself. I'm like, that's it. And if something goes wrong, tomorrow's a brand new day. Like, and I
Yeah,
just keep
exactly.
saying that to myself. I'm just like, one day at a time.
Whilst connecting to the bigger vision though, like that is one thing that's been a game changer for me if we're talking about that. And it's any visualization that I've truly connected to has come true to a T. From leaving my 9 to 5 and being on sat on Bondi icebergs at 2 p.m. in the day on my laptop. Because when I visualized that, I was like, that means that I've left my 9 to 5.
Mm.
So I remember being sat in Bondi icebergs, like visions come true. The Columbia one, and now the next biggie for me is the next vision that I've like really honed into is owning a house, having a baby girl, and having a Rottweiler. And I feel so connected to that vision. Like I take each day as it comes, but you best believe that that vision is in my mind. I did it this morning. I do it
Yeah.
3 times a week. And that, because that, when shit does hit the fan in business, in life, I'm like, well, I'm going to carry on
Yeah.
because I'm making that shit happen.
Yeah. This is my vision. This is my life.
Yeah.
This is what I want. And like, this is
Mm,
what I'm going to manifest. Yeah. I noticed that actually when I did like my vision board last year, because it sits right in front of my bed. So every time I
mm.
wake up in the morning, it's like, that's the thing I say. And I ended up, I think I did probably about 85% of my vision board last year.
Love
And I
that.
looked at it and it was just like,
How
when
good
you
is
just,
that feeling?
yeah, like when you reflect back on it, yeah, and you just look at it and
Love
you
it.
think, oh my God. Like,
Yeah.
even when there was a photo I had on it and I did a content day, and the photo that I took on the content day is exactly the same as the photo as what I took on my vision board. And I was like,
Love that.
oh my goodness. Like, and that's power. Like,
Yeah.
you only just
But then
have to
it's
look.
again evidence that the next year you'll be like, well, I'm going to do it again, but go a little bit bigger.
Oh my goodness. My goals for this year, they are shit scary.
I
I'm
know,
not gonna
same.
lie. And I'm just like, but I'm done playing small. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
having like teeny tiny goals at like 2x. I'm like, I'm gonna
Annoying
10x everything. Yeah. So literally. So yeah, I need to still do my vision board actually, but I'm excited to just wake up every morning and just look at it and think,
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
is gonna be my life. Like by 2026, I'm like, I'm gonna have all these. So, yeah, so for anyone who is listening right now and is struggling with their confidence, what top tips would you give them?
Learn emotional regulation. I sound like a broken record, but it underpins everything. Learn emotional regulation. Learn how to be okay to feel everything, be okay to feel it all, learn how to be grateful for feeling it all, how to manage it and move through it. That was the biggest tip because your confidence will grow with that.
Mm.
In terms of confidence in general, I guess challenge everything as well. If you're having a thought about yourself, that you can. Another way the brain works as well, as soon as you tell yourself you can, or as soon as you tell yourself it's hard, your
Mm.
brain will give you all of the reasons why you can't do it and all of the reasons why it's hard. So instead of focusing on the fact it's hard, yes, it's hard. The grass is green, the sky is blue. Why the fuck are we concentrating on the fact it's hard? We know that. What we get to concentrate on is the solution. What do we
Yeah,
get to do? Yeah, so it's about shifting your thoughts in each moment and trusting that.
I
That's,
love that.
I guess.
I love that. And even the fact as well, when you said about grateful, being grateful about everything you have in your life, whether it's good, it's
Yeah,
bad, anything like that, you are going to open up so much more by being
I've
grateful.
been grateful, 100%. That's one thing that earlier on, and still now, I practice gratitude every single day.
Mm.
Every single day. This morning, obviously, you're in the UK, you know it's fucking -7. I was walking to the gym and I was just like, oh my God, this frost is so pretty. And the whole like of Manchester is like glittering and shine and like glistening. I was like, it's so, so pretty. I was freezing and I'm not a cold weather person, but I chose to focus on the fact everything looked really pretty.
Yeah.
And having gratitude for where you're at now whilst being connected to the vision is really important because if you're just concentrating on this vision but you're like life's shit right now, the likelihood is you're not gonna make it happen. Sorry.
Yeah.
You need to be grateful for where you're at now, or you get to be grateful for where you're at now whilst creating what you want to create.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. And I was a bit like that the other day, actually, when I went on my walk and it was like blue skies and the ground was just crispy. And like, because where we've
Yeah.
had flooding, obviously a lot of it's all muddy, but the mud
Yeah.
all turned into like crisp. And I was just like walking along it and just, you just like hear the crunching.
Yeah,
And
the
I'm like,
sound. Yeah,
yeah. And I'm like, I love this. And it's the little things like that. It's just like, celebrating everything in life, like every single day, like taking little bits from it and just being so grateful. And then, like you say, you're just going to open yourself up to so much more like opportunities and anything in life. So, yeah, this has been an
I love
amazing conversation and I've absolutely loved it and I love learning about your story and the fact I've learned something about
it.
like emotional regulation and neuroscience. So there's no doubt that people will obviously learn something from listening to this. So this has been absolutely incredible. If obviously people want to come and find you, where can they find you?
Yeah, so Instagram is your best bet. So it's the growglow.co on Instagram. It is the same on TikTok, but TikTok's more fun vibes for me. I just dance and chat shit on TikTok, to be honest. But it's still fun. You can still learn a bit. So yeah, that's t same for Instagram and TikTok.
Amazing. I'll put them obviously in the show notes and the YouTube description box. But this has been amazing and I love this conversation with you.
I
So thank you so much for coming on here. And yeah, I really appreciate it. Take care of yourself.
You are so welcome. Thanks, guys.